You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my review for Welcome to Chechnya. Now, before we get into this review, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. So we are back with another Pride Month series review, this time for the 2020 documentary Welcome to Chechnya, which is an HBO original currently streaming on HBO Max. Welcome to Chechnya is a 2020 documentary directed by David France that follows a group of activists that risk their lives to confront Russian leader Ramzan Kadyrov, the president of the Chechen Republic, and his government-directed campaign to detain, torture, and execute LGBTQIA Chechens. So this was a documentary I had actually never seen prior to this month's Pride series, but I chose to watch and cover this film here in 2025 because it's still a very, very important documentary for many reasons. I think this year, no matter what country you come from, it's so important that we remember pride is actually a protest. But even further than that message on a worldwide level, to not only live as yourself as a form of protest, but hopefully be in a position and have the initiative to do something that strengthens our community on a deeper level. But more specifically, in 2025, the Chechnyan executions of queer people doesn't seem to have been resolved. So 5 years after this documentary was released at the Sundance Film Festival, after this film won awards, both leaders within Russia are still in place, and the not only oppression of gay individuals within Chechnya, actual imprisonment, torture, and execution remains. So let's kick things off by talking about the positives for Welcome to Chechnya. Well, if that intro didn't tip you off, the biggest positive is, in fact, the subject matter being brought to the forefront and being easily accessible to the masses through HBO Max. This documentary was filmed in 2017 primarily, when this Chechnyan roundup of gay individuals really made it big and really started happening in mass. And these documentarians, David France and his team, were able to film the very heroic efforts of this LGBTQ group in Russia that is working to get people out of Chechnya and out of Russia at large to safe haven in other countries that would accept them as refugees. So the footage that's captured here is really fascinating. It's a live view of what's happening on the ground through this process, in addition to the talking head style documentary where we're hearing from the actual activists, the actual people putting in the work on the ground. So the fact that this film was even made is a feat in and of itself. This is such a dangerous situation for everyone involved, and for them to get that footage as it was unfolding, as it was happening, as these rescue efforts were going down was extraordinary. And on top of all of this, there was this need to keep pretty much everyone in the film's identity secret. All of these people were literally fleeing for their lives and needed to remain anonymous. But instead of just blurring their faces or having them in the back as a dark shadow looking figure, David France implemented facial technology to basically overlay a different face over the people we were seeing so that we still got this really human emotion, but didn't sacrifice the necessary anonymity of these individuals. There is one part in this film where somebody reveals themselves, and you would know because they came forward in real life clearly, and tried to get a criminal suit against Russia and Chechnya. So in history, they revealed themselves. And in the film, we see the face drop, the face reveal come from behind the digital makeup. And it was a really amazing moment of documentary filmmaking, an amazing technology that was really on the cutting edge for documentaries to be able to accomplish a different type of anonymous storytelling without sacrificing getting to see human faces telling their own stories. Additionally, we get raw footage of actual attacks, which is obviously very disturbing, but hits home the point and really puts these people's words into visual perspective for those of us that are not living an environment quite as dangerous as this. Now, this all brings on many trigger warnings. Please be advised. We see on screen acts of sexual assault. We hear recountings of sexual assault, physical assault. We hear people getting their actual lives threatened. And even in one case, we see somebody in the aftermath of committing self-harm. So this is a documentary that does not shy away from the intensities of what's happening. It also does not revel in the shock factor or try to use these horrific instances as gratuitous shock footage for their film to make a salacious movie. It all felt needed. All of these instances felt very needed to convey the message and the true severity of it all. And we also got a couple of open-ended stories here, which is not always the case in documentaries such as this. It's obviously not a happy ending because, as I said, here we are in 2025 and we don't have a resolution here. But even in the context of the film, we do see many cases of people getting out of this harmful situation, being able to relocate to other countries, and hopefully, seemingly, being able to start up a new, safer life. But even that is put into perspective at the end of the film. And then we're even given at least two cases that were left completely unsolved. We don't know where these people are. One of which cases was an actual, somewhat famous singer from the region, Zalim Bakayev, who went missing and the case was never solved. He's presumed to be murdered by the Chechen police after being detained for accusations of him being gay. After watching the film, I looked it up. He was never found. The case was never solved. They tried to make a video that pretty much was refuted and debunked as he went to Germany. But there's no closure here. We also have a young woman in the film who is fleeing, and her story ends up being open-ended as well. And it all obviously leads to a very impactful watch. It's going to stick with me for some time. So then what doesn't work so well when it comes to Welcome to Chechnya? Really, the only thing I would say is that some of the cinematography was interesting. Some of the cinematography choices, not just, equipment. Obviously, we're dealing with, on the ground documentary style filmmaking. Some of the cinematography choices that were made behind the camera. Not quite my favorite per se. But that's it. That's the only nitpick I have in this film. I think it is a really fantastic documentary, one that is so essential that we keep watching until something gets done. Keep bringing this situation up until something gets done, until other countries take enough of an interest in what's happening that they force a result. Because from inside Russia, it's not happening. It will not happen. This film pretty much makes it clear it will not happen. And after 5 years since this film has been released, Chechnya is still getting away with what it is doing to queer people. They're proven right. Vladimir Putin and the leadership of Russia will not act. So this Pride Month, as we're all feeling like we need to stand up, we need to yell, we need to protest, we need to make sure that our rights are heard, our voices are heard, we are seen. I think Welcome to Chechnya is a wonderful film to kick off that fighting spirit, to visualize and actually experience what is at stake worldwide for people within our communities. And hopefully, we can get this discussion up and running again because it's been somewhat swept under the rug amidst all this other worldwide political drama. And these are people's lives literally at stake, being done more or less with their own government's consent. So please, if you were like me and have not seen Welcome to Chechnya, check it out. If you have an HBO Max subscription, it is free on the app to watch at any time. This is the kind of Pride watch I think we all need to sit with and experience this year. So that was my review for Welcome to Chechnya. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Have you seen Welcome to Chechnya? If you have, let me know all of your thoughts and comments in that comment section down below, or you can hit me up over on Blue Sky or Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.